You see, the reason people quit, they don't take pride in what they do. The harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. And I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about winning simultaneously in every aspect of life. I'm not concerned with a person that does well in one aspect of their life and they can hang their hat there and say, man, I made a lot of money. You made a lot of money. You're a public success, but you're a private failure. What good is it to make a lot of money and you don't want to go home to your family? What good is it to make a lot of money and you don't take care of your kids? What good is it? You're a public success, but you're a private failure. And so how can we win simultaneously and take pride in everything that we do? And one night, my mother couldn't pick me up, and she called Coach Trey. She said, Coach, I can't make it tonight. Can you please take Inky home? And so he put me and about 8 guys in the back of his pickup truck, and he said, Inky, I'm going to drop you off last. And so when he got to my house, I got out on the sidewalk, and I'm standing in front of 125 Warren Street, and I looked back at Coach Trey. And I said, why are you doing this? Because where I came from, people didn't just help you. It was, I pat you on your back, you got to pat me on my back. You remember I did that for you, you got to do this for me. And I said, why are you doing this? And he looked back at me and he said, son, I want to tell you something. And he said, I don't want you to ever forget it. He said, son, the more you make sure that somebody else's life is okay, God will always make sure that your life is okay. And immediately I got it. The light bulb went off. I stopped being this little selfish kid. I stopped being like my 4-year-old son. And for the first time in my life, I stopped thinking everything was just about Inky Johnson, and I realized my existence on this earth is a lot bigger than me. I realized my lineage and my family, when I step outside of my door in the morning, what I represent is a lot bigger than me. And so the thing I had to understand, every day I woke up and everything that I was a part of, I first had to understand I was representing a lot more than myself. I first had to start living by 2 words, honor and legacy. And what I mean by honor and legacy, you honor the ones that paved the way for you. And you leave a legacy for the ones that's coming behind you. We just have it right now, while we're a part of something right now. Somebody has came before us and paved the way, and somebody will come after us. And so while we have it, how can we do it in such a way that we leave a legacy for the ones that's coming behind us, and we honor the ones that paved the way for us? And so everything I did, I took a certain level of pride in it. People thought I just wanted to be a great football player. What they didn't understand about Inky Johnson was this: I could have washed cars. I guarantee you I would have been the best car washer there was in the world. Because the thing I understood, I wasn't just representing myself. It wasn't just about me. Everything that I did, I shifted my mindset from me to we. Now I was operating with a spirit of collective character, meaning it didn't matter what I did individually.
Every day, week, month, or year is a gift given to us by God. And that gift is given to us to fulfill an assignment. That means that you were sent to earth to complete a task and to fulfill a specific purpose, but you were sent to do it by God within a certain amount of time. So you don't have forever to fulfill your assignment. This is important. You were sent to earth to do something, and you were given a certain amount of time to do it in. So you don't have the luxury of experimenting. And this is the Bible calls a burden. As a matter of fact, the passing of time, and I wrote this from my spirit, the passing of time makes you accountable to God. So the next time you tell somebody Happy New Year, pause and ask, what did I do with it? What did I do with the year that just passed? How much of it did I waste watching television? Being with people who had no interest in success? Being involved in habits that didn't improve my life or my body? What did I spend that year on? We are accountable to God. Why? He gave us a gift. And so when we think of time, I want to read a verse from the book of Job, chapter 14 rather, verse 5. Now, this is a verse you must remember all your life. It says, man's days are determined. That means you don't decide how long you live. Your life is on a timer. The next verse statement says, you have decreed the number of his months and have set limits he cannot exceed.
In fact, the scripture says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. If you only lean to your understanding, you're going to get frustrated because sometimes there is no logical solution. There's no way out in the natural, but we serve a supernatural God. He can make things happen that we couldn't make happen. When Victoria and I had been married about 2 years, we lived in an apartment complex. One evening we were out walking through this nice neighborhood with big trees and beautiful 2-story homes. We came to this one house that was under construction. It was just about finished. It was late in the day. No one was working, so we went to look at it. The front door was unlocked, so we walked in. It was so beautiful. I'll never forget the tall ceilings, the big curved windows. It was all so spacious and well done. As we were walking out the front sidewalk, Victoria stopped, turned around, and said, Joel, one day we're going to live in a house just like this. That was so far out of my thinking, so unbelievable, I couldn't even fathom it. And I started telling her all the reasons why it wasn't going to happen. I said, Victoria, that's impossible. This is how much we make. I work for a ministry. Even if we say for years we wouldn't have enough. I went on and on. That no more affected her. She said, no, Joel, I know down in my spirit it's going to happen. The more she believed, the more aggravated that made me. I did my best to convince her to be a doubter. Come on, we're limited. We'll never have enough. We're at a disadvantage. Her attitude was, no thanks. I know who I am. I am blessed. I am favored. I am anointed. I'm a child of the Most High. I wonder how many times we're doing like I did. I can't get well. Have you seen the medical report? I'll never break this addiction. I've had it since high school. My business will never succeed. I don't have the resources, the connections. All this time, you're focused on the how, thinking about what you can't do, what you don't have. God is saying, let me take care of the how. You just focus on the who. You believe that you're my child. Believe that you have an advantage. Believe that I'm a good father. Believe that I will take care of you, heal you, restore you, favor you, prosper you. We would walk that path several times a week. Every time Victoria would say, there's that house. We're going to live in something like that one day. After hearing that over and over, she started to convince me. You've heard that saying, if you can't beat them, join them. She wasn't going to sink down to where I was, so I decided to rise up to where she was. Don't let people speaking doubt, defeat, negativity cause you to give up on your dreams. Instead of letting them talk you out of it, you need to keep saying it so much that you talk them into it.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control. Hope you enjoy the video.
Whatever you do to bounce back into life, make sure it's moral. Make sure that your upcoming success is at the service of others, not at the expense of others. I have made this point several times, but only because it's so important. Integrity. Integrity is adhering to the moral principles of life. Integrity is doing things with honor. Integrity is honesty. Without integrity, ambition loses its unifying focus that comes from integrated goals, from really knowing what you want. Integrity says, I wish to pay fair price for all value. Getting something for nothing makes nothing of me. Getting it cheap makes me cheap. Truly, in your own enlightened self-interest, this is one of the better statements. I wish to pay fair price for every value. I wish to pay fair price. This is self-interest, and it's also integrity. I wish to pay fair price for every value. Why? For what it will make of me. For what paying for it will make of me. If I have to pay, that will make something of me. And by paying, you have the integrity not to take advantage of others. You hear of greedy people boasting about the great deal they just got, the best value, how they negotiated the price down to nothing, how they nickel and dime the other person out of making a profit. Good integrity won't let you do that. We all shop for the greatest value at the best price, but not at the expense of others. Not when your great deal cheated someone out of their profit. You hire someone to do a job for you, take on a project. You've got to pay fair price, fair value for someone else to do the work for you, because if you don't, what? They'll never work for you again. They don't want to work long, hard hours to make you look good and not get compensated for it. No, and your integrity won't allow that to happen. Pay an honest price for an honest value. Make it good for everybody involved. Leave a profit. Don't be cheap, be fair. It's your integrity that's on the line, not just a few bucks. Your integrity. If I want something badly enough, I have to earn it. If I want something badly enough, I have to pay for it. Why? Because of what paying for it will make of me. And if I wish to have more, I must become more. I must earn more. And how much should you earn? As much as you possibly can. You must always strive to do all you possibly can. The essence of life is growth. Doing, becoming, striving, growing, achieving. Be like the tree that grows as high as it can. Be like the bird that soars as high as it can. Be like the flowers that bloom as much as they can. Whatever course you set your sail to, do as much as you can to get there. It's part of integrity. Honestly doing all you can in pursuit of what you want, in pursuit of what you'll become. And whatever you sign up for, finish it. Here's a great story about integrity. The Apostle Paul, this great man, said, I'm about to go, and here's the reputation I want when I'm gone. Here's what I want people to say about me. He said 3 things, and here's number 1. I fought a good fight. Let that be your reputation. You fought a good fight. You kept out the ideology that wanted to capture your children, threatened every enemy that ever threatened you, fought like a parent protecting children in the home front. Let that be your reputation. You fought a good fight. And whether or not you won, at least let your reputation be that you fought a good fight. Fought for your rights, fought for the game. You fought for your integrity. You fought for honesty. You fought for success. You didn't leave any energy unspent. You fought. The major key to have success of any kind, you've got to leave this reputation behind. I've fought a good fight. Wow. And here's the second thing Apostle Paul said. Number 2, I finished the task. I stayed until it was done. They gave me a task, and I finished it. I didn't leave it half done. I never walked off the court in the 3rd quarter. I stayed. I finished it. What a good reputation. Finish it. Finish your assignment. Finish the project. Finish the contract. Finish it. Finish whatever you've signed up for. Then number 3, here's what he said. I kept the faith. Boy, that's important. Keep faith with your family. Keep faith with your enterprise. The group I belong to, we pledge our faith, our unwavering confidence in each other. Each of us pledge that to all of us. And I wish for you to be in a group that has so much integrity. You want to be involved with people who pledge and keep your confidences. Allstate says you're in good hands. That should be the reputation of all of us. Develop the reputation of good hands so that no matter where you go, you will represent your family well, represent your company well. Have integrity, honesty. And at the end of the road, don't you want to be able to say, I fought a good fight, I finished the job, and I kept the faith? Of course you do. And that last part, keeping the faith, is not that easy. What is the master prayer? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Help us keep integrity in spite of the evil, in spite of going through the valley of the shadow of darkness, that we will not fear that evil will dislodge us from our integrity. Keep the faith of the office. Keep the faith of the company. Keep the faith of the family, of your spouse and of your children. Keep the faith of the community. Wherever you go, represent your family well. Wherever you go, represent your group well. Wherever you go, represent your colleagues well. Let part of the bond of friendship be that wherever each of you are, each of you will represent all of you well. Wow, what a thing to be able to say. I fought a good fight, I finished the course, and I kept the faith. And here's how he wrapped it up. Apostle Paul said, I understand now there's a crown waiting for me, and I deserve it. Isn't that great to say? I hear they have a trophy for me, and guess what? I deserve it. What a magnificent story to leave behind. I fought a good fight, I finished the job, I kept the faith, and I deserve the crown. Unbelievable. Now others around you, others you associate with, may not have the ambition or the integrity to leave such a legacy behind. But guess what? Let other people lead small lives, but not you. In the challenge of building your ambition and stepping up to the opportunity of giving someone else light and direction and refinement of thought and character, in all of this, let everybody else lead small lives, but not you. Let everybody else cry over small hurts, but not you. Let everybody else argue over non-essentials, but not you. Deal in things that matter, the larger challenge, the larger opportunity. Go for the challenge and the responsibility of being the absolute best you can, of doing your best, of creating your best, of being the best person, the best friend, the best spouse, the best parent, the best colleague. As you begin to understand and apply all of the principles in building your ambition, remember, ambition is an eager desire to achieve, an eager desire to get ahead in life, to do more for your family, to prosper in health and wealth and relationships. As you're building your ambition, inspiring and fueling your achievement, when you realize that you are more than your ambition, when you let your ambition serve you, you will develop greater concentration, greater resilience, greater integrity. These three aspects will inspire more ambition. Ambition that stems from the need to be true and to express your innermost self. And with focused concentration, resilience, and integrity in our character on our side, working for us, we're constantly inspiring the ambitious part of our nature to reach to greater and greater heights. One of the most challenging experiences in life is seeing what you can do to help someone else. And one of the greatest thrills in life is being able to invest life into life.
First thing you got to do is decide, as a business owner, do I want to make more money? See, if this dude with the camera, if his pockets are empty, he's walking around empty pockets, and he's got his fancy camera. This is the problem with the artist. They starve their whole life. They starve their entire life, and then you wonder why they're grumpy. There's no money. I'm eating at Little's all the time. Sooner or later, you hit the reality. He hits the reality. I got a nice camera. I love taking photos. I got to shoot Grant Cardone. He watches Lord Sugar leave on his jet and says, hey, why does he get to fly free everywhere, do whatever he wants, and I'm stuck with my camera and no money? How many believe that? Sooner or later, after days of going to work, months of going to work, years of going to work, sooner or later, if he works for this man, he's like, I resent this man. I resent this man. I resent that man, business owner. I resent Paul McFadden, the business owner. I resent you, so I know I won't work for you. In fact, what I'm going to do is screw things up for you. It's called disengagement. The only business people that will survive, the only entrepreneurs that will make it in business are those people that decide to grow their businesses. Little will fail. Not the little grocery store. Okay? If you try to stay small, you will fail. Okay? I'm telling you this from personal experience. I tried to stay small. I tried to manage the business. I tried to be the king of the business. I tried to have no employees because employees cost money. I'm like, I'm not going to have any employees. I'm not going to pay the cameraman. I'll just hire him when I do a gig. And the next time I'll hire another guy. And that'll keep my expenses low. How many are brought up like this? Keep the expenses real low where we can manage the expenses. The expenses are going to be so small that no matter how much we make, I keep it all.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Whatever you do, don't let life change you. But somebody in this place has gone through some tough times and some dark days and been through some things. When all of this is over, you're going to come out stronger than you ever have been in your life. Don't panic. Don't faint. It's just a test.
And I say this to people all the time. It isn't me. It's you. And sure, you may have grabbed some little foothold from the podcast or from one of the books, but it isn't me that changes you, it's you. You set the small goals, you achieve those goals, then set some more and achieve those and set some more goals, maybe a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. You pay attention to the progress. Just start small. Start with changing tomorrow morning, just tomorrow morning. Get that squared away. And then move on to the next day and the next and move your life to a better place. One little step, one little victory at a time.
You should dream outlandish dreams. If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness. Seriously, never live your life in probability. Probability is the probability of something happening. There's a statistic attached to a probability. 1 in every 3,000 people do this. That's a probability. A possibility has no stats attached to it. Live your life in possibilities and you change it. Just change the way you think. It's not what you do for a living. It ain't how much you make. It ain't none of that. It's simply how you think. If you change your thought, you change everything. You change your attitude, you change your altitude. It's all that. It's the law of attraction.
It takes a lot of courage to allow yourself to grow in the face of scrutiny. See, Everybody grows. Men, women, saints, bishops, everybody grows. But generally you grow in privacy and your struggles are kept private and you develop and you grow out of it. Hopefully you get out of it before anybody shoots you down. And it takes a lot of courage to say I'm not there yet. And what I have had the courage over the years to say, I don't know everything. I've been willing to change. I've been willing to evolve. I've been willing to explain myself to people that I didn't even have to respond to. Because in the process of doing that, people begin to understand that you are not who they think you are.
If you want the future to change for you, you've got to change. If you don't change, the next 6 years of your life is going to be just like the last 6. You'll still be behind on your bills. You'll still be behind on your promises. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. What a clear message that was for me. If you'll change your philosophy, if you'll change your habits, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future, all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change.
I've been challenged by other people. I've had other people put the mountain in front of me and say, Maxwell, go climb that. And I can tell you right now, I've taken that challenge sometimes and climbed that mountain and felt that I accomplished something great. But let me tell you something about other people's challenges. I may go do that or try to do that, but that may not be where I need to put my time, effort, and energy. Instead of letting other people challenge you, challenge yourself. You know your strengths. You know your dreams. You know your heart. So why don't you sit down and reflect for a moment and ask yourself, what do I really want to accomplish that I haven't accomplished yet? I mean, get on your agenda. Get in your area, in your space, and say, I need to challenge me. When you challenge yourself, you're challenging yourself in an area that is close to your heart and it's who you are. In other words, the closest way to meet a challenge with a great sense of authenticity is to challenge you.
Before I met Mr. Shoaff, I used to cross my fingers and say, I sure hope things will change. I was hoping the government would change and the tax structure would change and that my boss would change and pay me more money. I was hoping that, economics would change and prices would come down. And I was hoping that circumstances would get better. And then I discovered from my teacher that those things are going to continue the same. In fact, all of those things that happen to us is kind of like the wind that blows. And the wind blows on us all. But if you just let the wind blow, I'm telling you, it won't take you where you want to go. All of us must use this wind to take us to the dreams we've got, to the equities we want, to the money we want, to the income we want, and to all the things we want our life to have. This is where we want to go, and we've got a good wind, but we must not leave our future just to the wind, just to the economy, just to the structure of the way things are happening today.
When we first start out in life, we are enthusiasts. Our vision is bright and alluring, and we feel confident we're going to win out, that we shall do something distinctive, something individual, unusual. But after setbacks and failures, we lose heart, and faith in our vision dies. Then we gradually awaken to the fact that our ambition is beginning to deteriorate. It is not quite as sharply defined as formerly. Our ideals are a trifle dimmed, our longings a trifle less insistent. We try to find reasons and excuses for our lagging efforts and waning enthusiasm. We think it may be due to overwork, because we are tired and need a rest, or because our health is not quite up to standard, and that by and by our former intense desire to realize our dreams will return. But the whole process is so insidious that before we realize it, our fires, for lack of fuel, are quite burned out.
Stories of success are all around us, everywhere. Take the time to talk to these people or read their stories. You might learn something. You might find out that they have already traveled the path you are now on. To be a good person, you have to have ambition. You have to try to do something good with your life. You have to try to get out of where you are today or make where you are a better place tomorrow. You have to, or anything else is a waste. When you get up tomorrow morning and are standing in front of the mirror getting ready for the day, remind yourself that you are somebody, that you are important, and that you can make the changes that will move you closer to your ideal future. Many of these people have written books on their journeys. These books tell the stories and give the secrets that we can all learn from.
If you believe you can enrich yourself by deluding others, you can end only by deluding yourself. It may take some time, but just as surely as you breathe, you'll get back what you put out. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can avert this. It's impossible. The prisons and the streets where the lonely walk are filled with people who tried to make new laws just for themselves. We may avoid the laws of man for a while, but there are greater laws that cannot be broken. An outstanding medical doctor recently pointed out 6 steps that will help you realize success. 1, set yourself a definite goal. 2, quit running yourself down. 3, stop thinking of all the reasons why you cannot be successful and instead think of all the reasons why you can. 4, trace your attitudes back through your childhood and try to discover where you first got the idea you couldn't be successful, if that's the way you've been thinking. 5, change the image you have of yourself by writing out a description of the person you would like to be. And 6, act the part of the successful person you have decided to become.
What we get out of life depends very largely on fidelity to our visions. If we believe in them, we will not let them die for lack of nursing. If we really have ability to match them and are not self-deceived by egotism, petty vanity and conceit, no misfortunes, no failure of plans, no discouragements, no obstacles, nothing in the world can separate us from them. We will cling to them to our dying day. The man who believes in his life vision, who is not a mere egotist or idle dreamer, who sees in his desire a prophecy of something which he is perfectly able to make come true. He is the man who has ever made the world move. He flings his life into his effort to match his vision with its reality. The world stands aside for such a one, for one who believes in his vision, who consecrates himself without reserve to its fulfillment.
You got to learn to let the past go so you can grow. Many people never act on their dreams because they allow their past experiences to determine what their possibilities are. Whatever you've done in the past, that's not a reflection of your possibilities. That's just a reflection of your consciousness. That's just a reflection of your development and your growth. The future is unfolding for you right now. The future is unlimited for you right now. No one knows where you can go. No one knows what you're capable of or what's possible for you. You don't even know that. I had no idea, ladies and gentlemen. No one could have convinced me that I was able to do this. So as you begin to look at this decade and affirming that this is your decade, as you set goals that will make you stretch, that will bring out the best in you, as you begin to remove the negative, toxic people from your life, as you decide to take some chances in life, and that's one of the things that's very important. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. If you cannot become your best, you cannot be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there?
Universal quest. Happiness is a joy that most often comes as a result of positive activity. Like wealth, it too has a wide variety of meanings and interpretations. Happiness is both the joy of discovery and the joy of knowing. It is a result of an awareness of the full range of life, the color, the sound, the harmony. And it is the joy that comes from designing a life and practicing the fine art of living well. Happiness is being able to explore the offerings of life by perception, response, and enjoyment. Happiness is both receiving and sharing, reaping and bestowing. It is being able to feast on harmony as well as food, on ideas, as well as bread. Happiness is the deliberate act to create a wider world of experience and awareness. Happiness is having a handle on disappointment. It is being in control of both emotion and circumstance. Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance. Happiness is contentment with the tasks of your life. It is thought inspired by, organized with, and rooted in your personal philosophy. Happiness is a life well lived, in which a wide variety of experiences are deliberately captured to become an invaluable form of currency for you to spend and invest in your own better future.
You sell your dream. And what you do when you do that is you sold your children's future. You've sold your own future. You've sold your legacy. You've relented and you've given in. I want you to think about that. Because when you go, nah, it wasn't for me. No. That's the easy way out. Nah, I decided I'm not going to pay that big a price for my grandkids' future. I've decided I don't want to really retire my parents. I've decided I don't really want to be somebody. I've decided I don't want to accumulate enough money to fund that church. I've decided all this stuff I say about who I want to be and what I want and all that other stuff, I kind of want it, contingent on it's not too hard. And that's what most entrepreneurs do. In fact, in a year, of the 500 people here, there will be several hundred of you who have already sold your family down the river. And I say that to you so that you can begin to negotiate the price in advance. I love you. I want you to win. I want to see you prosper. I want to see magic happen for you. And if you don't, while you're at this meeting, all the notes, all the logistics, make a decision that no matter how big the price gets, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'm going to pay it. I've negotiated advance. My will to win, my family's dreams, my future is not for sale. And guess what? We're going to enter a market, especially in the real estate space, the next 5 years. We're going to weed out all the people who haven't made that decision. We're going to weed them all out. And those of us that stay, and by the way, I've made the vast majority of my wealth in real estate, by the way. When you get any wealthy speaker that comes speak to you, they either made their money in tech or real estate, eventually. Now, I cash flowed in the financial services business, but I invested in real estate. But I made a decision a long time ago. My children, their dreams are not for sale. You can't beat this dude. I'm not the smartest, right? I'm not the brightest. I may not have all the best information, but I'm going to outwork you, and you would have to kill me to get me to stop chasing my dream. Have you made that decision? By the way, I'm looking at some of your faces. Have you made that decision?
I was reading a book on forgiveness, and they had a line in there that says, forgive and grow. I had to let that luggage go. You see, your mind is, you know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. I couldn't move. I couldn't think about what am I going to do to get out of this situation because I was so concerned about what happened and what he did to me and how bad it was. I was so stuck in that I couldn't even focus on what I should have done. Feeling sorry for myself and angry, and none of that was taking me anywhere. So pretty soon, I learned through effort, made a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. I had to let it go. I had to forgive it. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do now, Les? Huh? How long are you going to tell everybody at the bus stop and anybody who would stand and listen to you? How long are you going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? How many times do we have to hear that? Don't go around telling people what your story is. Everybody has a story. 80% don't care and 20% glad it's you. They say, I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Sometimes you think you got some problem. You hear somebody else's problem, and if their problem is real bad, it make you feel good. Am I right? All right. So I had to let that go. All of us got stories to tell.
So we have to be good at not only controlling the internal world, but our external world. And that's shaped by what we do. And what people do is based on their emotions and also their role models. So I thank you, Mark, and I thank all of you that are role models for people, where you show people that success does not mean taking, that success can mean truly growing and giving. That money, resources, and opportunity are things to be shared. They're things that are tools for a quality of life that you're able to enhance for people and for yourself and your family. Pretty beautiful thing. My father that day decided what to do was, if I failed and I've been worthless to my family, I must leave. And he did. And to me, it was the worst day of my life. I'll never forget it. I loved him more than anything. I had 4 fathers. He's the one I finally got attached to. It's like, Mom, I'm confused. But then finally, years later, I got the benefit of it because out of all those experiences and all that pain, that day I made 3 different decisions. First decision is I just decided to focus on something different than him, and that's the power we have. We get to decide what to focus on, and my decision number 1 is I want to focus on the fact there's food. What a concept. Pretty cool. But the most powerful thing that changed my life was meaning. I said, what does this mean? Because my father had always said, my mother had always said, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Don't care about anybody, they don't care about you. And that day I had physical evidence. Those you bringing food, I want you to know that's not just food. That's called love for someone. That's called hope for someone. That's called surprise for someone. And that day for me, I went, strangers care. And so I started caring about strangers. And I decided someday I'm gonna do the same. So when I was 17, I fed 2 families. It was like one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I went to the grocery store, I was all excited. Saved up all my money, went to the manager and said, I want to feed 2 families, this is what I'm doing, it's not for me, give me a discount. And he gave me 10%, and I thought, cheap bastard. But I went out and I delivered this food, and ironically, I called this church and I asked in the barrio, a particular place, where are some families in need? They gave me 2 names. I put on t-shirt and jeans. I wasn't going to be acknowledged. I also didn't want someone to be insulted because I saw what happened to my father. And I wrote a note, said, this is a note from a friend. And I said, I just want you to know, we know you're having difficult times. Everyone does at times. And I want you to have a beautiful Thanksgiving, and please feel loved, take care of your family, and someday, if you can, do well enough to do this for one other family and pass it on. But love a friend. And I had it written in Spanish as well. And I'll never forget, first place I pull up, this rotten old van, stick shift van, that I borrowed from a buddy of mine, with all these bags of food. And I went into this place and got out, pulled up this little tiny building, really tiny, knocked on the door, and when I knocked on the door, this little woman opened the door. She's probably half my size. She's not hard, I'm 6'7", so she's like 5'2". And she looked up at me like this, and she saw the groceries, and she screamed. She started to grab my head and pull it down and kiss me. I was like, no, 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 delivery boy, delivery boy. And she goes, no, God gift, God gift, God gift.
This is too big for me. I cannot do this by myself. I'm going to forgive myself for not being Superman and not being bionic and not having the answer to everything. And I'm going to forgive myself because I can't answer all questions and I can't fix all problems and I can't be there for everybody. I'm tired. I'm going to let myself be a person and I'm going to let somebody see my person. Ooh, that's some scary stuff right there. Let somebody come if the wrong person see your personhood, you know. So fear stops us from letting anybody come close. And let's face it, most of the people who want to come close and serve in ministry, they come for the wrong reason anyway. Most of them come for the wrong, they don't mean, they're not diabolical. They're not diabolical people. They're good people. But I teach people this, and this might be worth noting. The church is both an organization, organized, structured, apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists, deacons. It's an organization. It has to have structure. If it doesn't have structure, it doesn't run right. This meeting is effective because they have structure and order and plans. They don't just come in here and see what the Lord's going to do. Yeah. It's more than anointing. It's planning and structure and strategy, okay? So the church is an organization, but it is also an organism. It is an organism. It is a living thing. It is a divine thing. It has the DNA of God, and it is birthed of its daddy. It's got its daddy's blood. It is supernatural. It's divine. It's powerful. And if your church is not both, you'll never be effective. If you have God's DNA, but you have no organizational skills, it will kill your church. If you have lots of organization and structure, and yet you have no divine DNA in you, it will still kill your church. You will be ordered and strategic and organized and be all together and have no life, no zoe, no power, no unction, no semen, none of God's sperm exists in your ministry. It's just all straight and neat. It's like a nursery without a baby. I've seen churches all over the place, organized as they could be, and just they're dead as 4 o'clock in the morning. On the other hand, I've seen churches that were on fire for God, but no structure and no order, and neither one of them can grow, because if you have one without the other, you can never get it done.
Get certain that you can handle anything like this in the future. Get certain. Not only can you deal with the emotion you have right now, but what you should do is use this as an opportunity to be certain for yourself. Get yourself certain. If it ever happens in the future, I'll handle this emotion quicker and easier. Get certain that you can handle anything like this in the future by rehearsing yourself dealing with it in the future. In other words, think of a time in the future where this depression could have come up, and see yourself, feel yourself rehearsing again. Use this as a tool of empowerment. You've got to allow yourself to be able to take advantage of uncertainty. Yes, the world is uncertain right now. Uncertainty is change. Change is life. We both know that. We all know that. But if you and I are going to become masters, we have to understand that we don't have to work on change. Change is automatic. Progress is not. Progress comes when you tell yourself the truth and you're able to feel the uncertainty and take action anyway. Most people in life, we really feel like the level of stress in our life comes to how much of life do you feel like you control, or how much does life control you? Do you tend to control more of what's going on, or events controlling you? It's very easy to have those events start to take control unless we take control of what's between our ears, our own mind. See, what you and I focus on massively affects how we feel, whether we're thriving or surviving. If you focus on what you can't control, if you focus on the past, if you focus on what's missing from your life constantly, that pattern of focus will make you frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed. It won't even matter if you're taking antidepressants. If you keep focusing on what you can't control, what's missing from your life, you're going to feel depressed still. You can take as many antidepressants as you want. Focus equals power. Leadership is making decisions. If you're going to lead your own life, you got to make decisions. And what Schwarzkopf said is he realized rule number one in life is when put in charge, when put in command, take charge. Make the decision. If it's right or wrong, you're going to find out quicker than if you sit around. And the interesting thing is, the more you make decisions, the better you get. What makes somebody a leader? What makes somebody a leader is they're willing to make the decision other people won't make. They're willing to put themselves on the line, knowing that you're going to be wrong in some of those decisions, but you're going to find out quicker, and you can simply adapt and change your approach to still get where you want to go. Be decisive. Don't like your body? Change it. Don't like your relationship? Change it. Start by changing you. If you've changed you, it's still not right, then change it. But the way you make any change happen starts with a decision. All action, all results are mothered or fathered, if you would, by a decision. If you put yourself in a place where you got a new vision and you gotten yourself strong, if you got a role model and you got some strategy and you got yourself into action, step 5 is give much more than you expect to receive. Simple as that sounds, if you find a way to meet people's needs in business, in an intimate relationship, meeting your kids' needs, anybody's needs, the whole game changes.
The chronic excuse maker. How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. You don't have the equipment or the gear. Lies. You don't know the best way. Who cares? That's a lie. Or you're too old, or you're too young. Of course you're too old or too young. Lie. And there's you're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie. And you're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it. Lies, lies, lies. And the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop. So recognize the excuses are not valid. They aren't. They're trumped up. They're conjured up. They're fabricated. They're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. The truth. The truth will set you free. The truth will stand, and the truth will deliver you from procrastination and laziness and the downward spiral that comes with a lack of discipline. So don't believe the lies, believe the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done. So cast out the lies, burn them down, and listen to the truth. And live the truth, and go out and get it done.
I used to be a big weightlifter, and I use what I used to warm up with now is what I lift now, because I'm about 50% weaker than I was back in my heyday 20 some years ago. But we have a gym here. We actually have 2 gyms. Sure. The kids today find reasons, or they find things to do to really procrastinate, to not take action. But you gotta love, you gotta have a passion for what you do. If you don't, it gets tired. Alistair Cook, the great presenter, BBC presenter, told me about, 30, 35 years ago. Being a professional, being a high-performance professional, is being able to do your very best when you don't feel like it. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you don't. Okay, and I've had days. Not every day do I want to speak when I'm at the university, the Oxford, University of Edinburgh, whatever. But they don't know it. Mm-hmm. As far as they're concerned, I look like I was born for that night. Yeah. But I was taught. High-performance people don't leave anything on the stage. Yeah. Yeah, in athletic endeavors, I never left anything on the field. In public speaking, I don't leave anything on the stage. I'm fully spent at the end of each day.
Tell us about failure and why it's important to fail.
I love it.
Yeah, because you mentioned that.
I love it. I like micro failure. I hate macro failure. Like, death of your business is bad. But to me, you know what's funny? I'll use a boxing analogy. My favorite boxing, I watch a lot of boxing. I think boxing's a very interesting, and I'm super into mixed martial arts, but I grew up on boxing. I understand it better. And I like watching it because there's so many things that happen in boxing. First of all, what I love about boxing is there's nowhere to hide. It's super interesting, right? There's nowhere to hide. Number 2, there's a scenario in boxing that I love the most. For some reason, there's nothing more interesting to me than watching somebody get knocked down in the first round and then go on to win the fight easily. It's an interesting psyche, right? And I like that, and this is what I'm thinking about it, which is like, here's what's bad in boxing and in business. Going into a fight, getting knocked the f*** out in the first round and losing the match. Bad. Getting knocked down and then having the adversity to readjust to what you got caught on and navigating it to easily win a fight is remarkable. That's how I think about entrepreneurship. The reason so many people struggle with entrepreneurship is you have micro failures almost daily. And they're very in your face. You can't hide. And I like that. I like failure because I think I deserve it. I hate when people don't respect the game. When I fail, it means I f***ed up. And I like that because I think people get audacious. My number one thing that I hate about capitalism is that people use it and they love it, and they're big capitalists, and they love open market and competition and all that, and then they become 73 and they try to use all their money to protect their money. They're not willing to let a young lion eat them the way they ate somebody else. I hate when they try to manipulate it. That's what I love about sports. What I love about sports is when you're 36 and you were once the best player in the league, but now you're getting a little bit older and your body breaks down, you are forced to retire. The one thing that entrepreneurship and capitalism has to adjust to is once you get old and you're tired and you want to be on a yacht instead of working your you should lose some money because you're losing.
I love guilt. Guilt is a tool. Guilt is a weapon. Guilt does not have to be a bad thing. It's not like I perpetuate, but I'm like, I love that I feel bad when I don't do a good job. Most people hate that about themselves. I love that feeling. I'm like, I didn't do a good job there. Next time I will. So some people, guilt is discouragement. Other people, it's a signal for learning. To me, guilt is a signal for learning. It is the body and the brain, the spirit, knowing what is right, knowing what is wrong, knowing what's great, knowing what's mediocre. And it's saying, hey, do a little better. Now, if it's translated into a negative impulse, then some people call it guilt. But I'm totally cool with guilt. I think it's good that we feel bad when we do something that is below our standard or that's not right, because that impulse to go, I want to do that better.